Hey, welcome back to my channel, everybody. And since it's Wednesday, I guess you're here to hear what's going on with BOHESUS, aren't you? Well, before I go on, please do your part and smash those buttons and ring that bell so you can get notified every time I put something new here on my channel. Okay, so we left off as the town was still in ruin, of course, because it had just been ransacked, and BOHESUS and Sora made their way to BOHESUS' homestead. Luckily, his home had not been touched. It was a small home, partially nestled in the woods, and seems to have been far enough away from the town not to be attention brought to itself. They arrived at the door, and BOHESUS tied the horse to a post. Sora went and rested under a tree, while BOHESUS raced inside of his home. The cold hearth of his fireplace echoed the feeling of the day, as his copper pot whistled low with a breeze as the door opened upon BOHESUS' entry. His bed was simple and stuffed with hay, and his pillow was a touch more fancy. It was stuffed with goose lizard down. He wrapped up his bedding and prepared a satchel for another travel quest. He gathered up all the food in his house, and he packed it away in satchels, and he shoved the frame of his bed away from the wall, where a wooden slat door was revealed beneath it. The creaking slat door opened, and he gazed down into a hole. A halberd of mail, a tunic, and other assorted gear had been hidden with several weapons, and BOHESUS gathered it all and carried it out to a wagon cart that had been stashed behind his house, deeper in the woods. BOHESUS had been a warrior, perhaps, in a past life, at least metaphorically, as it were so very, very long ago, a lifetime in fact. Now his fates were calling him back to don the tools of a trade he had long left in the shadowy nooks of tree hollows and the whispers of a distant memory. A noise came from the door as he makes his final trip to his armory. BOHESUS darts his gaze up, and he clenches a dagger. It's only Sora, and for a brief moment his heart raced as he thought it had been Sarap. She stood, resting on her body against the frame of the door. As she looked in and around the room, her eyes met him as if to say she was sorry he had to leave his home and the life he had grown to love. His eyes lowered back down into the hole, and she knew that he was not leaving to get his home back, not to leave it behind. After his cart had been filled with all that it could carry, and a horse had been hitched to the lead, Sora sat in the reins. BOHESUS mounted his own steed and led the two from his house in the hollows. His dream of a quiet life seems to have come to a close, at least for now, as he faced the next epic chapter in his life's journey. He led the cart on for a while before directing Sora to continue on to a safer road, and he himself went on only with his own horse and what he can carry, as he raced across the fields and prairies, and he headed towards the Dragonian salt flats and his beloved Sarap. At nightfall, he had found himself and his horse on a precipice of a cliff, which overlooked a vast ocean of crystallized salt plains. The crystal ground shimmered in the light of the setting twin suns. The moon and its double started to rise in the west, and a cool air began to ease through the evening. BOHESUS closed his eyes. He felt the cool caress and imagined his betrothed Sarap and her voice singing in the night's breeze. He had brought Sarap to this flat on occasion, and it held memories for his soul, and a tear formed and rolled down his face. Well, I guess that's all the time I have for today, so I'll wrap this up for now. And I'm your artist, Logan, and I'm kind of sketchy. And I'll catch you later.